Passing through the veil of mystery, seeking answers no one is brave to ask. This is Bound to Truth.
Hello, everybody. This is Christopher J. Lopez from Bound to Truth. It's been about a month since I've posted my last podcast. Been on a heck of a journey. I talked about heading to Minnesota, doing a documentary film, a solo documentary film that's affiliated with the Society Alliance, or excuse me, the Society Supernatural Alliance. Heck, I forget the name. Anyways, but I'm back. Did a lot of resting, a lot of reflection, a lot of just really taking the break that I needed. And I will say the documentary that I'm doing has got some incredible information with Randy Bauer and on his property and things that I experienced that made me a believer in the Sasquatch. Now you may ask, well, what is that? What's that information? Tell us more. Give us the juicy details or the chisme, which is gossip, right? You're going to have to wait on that one. But I'll tell you this. In my personal opinion, you won't be disappointed. Some great stuff. And I want to thank Randy Bauer and his family for being very hospitable and feed me and just not just give me the experience that I needed in regards to the Sasquatch, but just in life in general, which is really amazing, really cool. So I'm finally back here. It's been a while, felt like forever. And but I did have some battles personally, especially when it comes to doing podcasts. There's a lot of information out there that's going on that's very sensationalized and regarding UFOs and I talked before prior podcasts, but the 3-Eye Atlas that's supposed to be showing up pretty soon this month or early November. If you guys don't know what that is the asteroid that is an interstellar object that's not within our solar system, 7 miles wide and making very odd trajectories that scientists say could be artificial. Again, who knows? I don't know. We'll see. But anywho, there's a lot going on. There's stuff I'm going to talk about today in regards to the third UAP hearing with Congress, finally, after a few delayed months from Congress. And one particular person I'm going to talk about today is Dylan Borland. But before I get into that, let's talk about some recent current events that's happened within that time frame. We had the unfortunate passing of the assassination of Charlie Kirk. I wish him and his salvation with Christ is complete. I wish his wife, his children, and family are well. We have, a government shutdown? What's going on, right? Who knows how long that's going to last? We have the drones that are coming back again now in Denmark. Still supposed to be around within the States, but now in Denmark that's going on. We have riots that are happening, protest riots, depending on who you ask, that are going on in Chicago and Portland. A lot of interesting stuff that has just been very concerning, maybe unprecedented. Maybe not unprecedented because of just how we have social media and how things get sensationalized. So who knows? So overall, it's been a journey. It's been one heck of a month. But I'll tell you what I'm dressed for Halloween. I'm dressed as Gomez Adams. All I have to do is this. Tie my hair back, right? Put a bun on, good to go. Maybe shave this off. By the way, you can see that I've been tired and just been busy because I haven't really shaved. And I really need to groom up. Anyways, I digress. So today we're going to talk about, as I said before earlier, Dylan Borland. He is one of the whistleblowers that testified in Congress on September 9th regarding the UAP program. Now, there's been a lot of videos about him out there. I'm not the only one. A lot of people have gotten ahead of it before I have. I really wanted to listen to his testimony and just really get to the meat of things. I did do some clips here that you're going to watch that I wanted to just focus on his thoughts and theories, and also what experiences he had regarding him coming out with this information, and just what is going on with the government. Again, allegedly, there's no proof, right? In regards to keeping whistleblowers quiet, but not just about whistleblowing, just about just how our money's being spent and all the things that are going on, that is could unify us as a country if we knew what was really going on behind the scenes, allegedly. So let me jump into it. So what I decided to do was read this transcript that was from the UAP hearing from Dylan Borland. So here we go, and I'm reading verbatim. It's a bit long, so bear with me. And here we go. My name is Dylan Borland. Actually, you know what? Let me start over. Because I'm blind. Yes, this is the first time I'm actually wearing glasses on a podcast. My name is Dylan Borland. I'm a former one in one. I would assume this transcript meant INI, geospatial intelligence specialist for the U.S. Air Force in activity duty enlisted capacity from 2010 to 2013. I also worked for BAE Systems and Intrepid Solutions as a senior analyst and expert in analyzing video, radar, and advanced electro-optical imagery for official identification of aerial order of battle as well as naval ground. I'm a federal whistleblower, having testified to both the Intelligence Community Inspector General, the ICIG, you'll hear that a lot, by the way, and All Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, ARROW, with direct firsthand knowledge of and experience with craft and technologies commonly known as UFO or UAP that are not ours, that are reportedly operating without congressional oversight. Because of my direct knowledge of the reality of certain legacy UAP programs, my professional career has deliberately obstructed. My career was deliberately obstructed, and I have endured sustained reprisals from government agencies for more than a decade. From 2011 to 2013, I was stationed at Langley Air Force Base, Virginia, conducting 24-hour operations via manned and unmanned aerial vehicles, UAV, for Special Operation Forces, SOF, for the Global War of Terror, GWOT. During the summer of 2012, my team was on standby for weather, and I returned to my barracks on base. At approximately 0130, I saw an approximately 100-foot long equilateral triangle fly from the near NASA hangar on the base come within 100 feet of where I was standing. Side note, he's talking about a triangle craft that was pretty huge, 100 feet diameter. This craft interfered with my telephone, did not have any sound, and the material it was made of appeared fluid or dynamic. It was under this triangle craft for a few minutes. I was under this triangle craft for a few minutes, and then it rapidly ascended to a commercial jet level in seconds. It displayed zero kinetic disturbance, sound, or wind displacement. Some years after that experience, I was further exposed to classified information from the UAP Legacy Crash Retrieval Program through a sensitive position I held within a Special Access Program, SAP. During this time, intelligence officers approached me in fear for their own careers, citing misconduct within the programs and the same retaliation I was already enduring. These issues include medical malpractice by Veterans Affairs staff, denial of work I performed while enlisted in the U.S. Air Force, forged and manipulated employment documents, workplace harassment, including colleagues being directed not to speak with me, and the manipulation of my security clearance records by certain agencies to block or delay my access to classified employment. The retaliation I faced and the retaliation against individuals I know who worked in these programs is what convinced me in March of 2023 to become a whistleblower. I came forward out of concern for people's lives and to endure. I did everything I could to let our elected representatives know the truth about what is really happening within the executive branch. At the end of March of 2023, I agreed to meet with Arrow, following the suggestion of federal officials, believing it was what our nation required of me. I had reservations about Arrow due to these assessments they were reporting publicly at the time as a misrepresentation, of the truth. Because of those concerns, I did not share the sources and methods information to protect current and former federal personnel who had firsthand exposure to technologies of unknown origin. I did not want anyone to face further retaliation beyond what they had already endured. After David Rush testified under oath in the summer of 2023 and provided historical disclosure, I was then asked to go to the ICIG, and I did so in August of 2023. It was very clear early on during my intake interview, which was video recorded under oath, that their objective was solely to assess just how much I know, not to move forward with an investigation based on new information. The aftermath of the IG complaint still troubles me to this day. Side note, what he's saying there is that he felt like they were trying to assess information on what he knows, not trying to help him, just to see what he knows and try to keep him quiet. Side note. Since my ICIG complaint, I have been prevented from resuming my prior employment and can confirm I'm still blacklisted from certain agencies within the intelligence community. In addition, multiple agencies attempted phishing attacks to assess what I have divulged to the Inspector General, including being asked to disclose details of my ICIG complaint during a CI polygraph, Central Intelligence, by the way, for a position entirely unrelated to UFO UAP matters in November of 2024. As I sit before you today, I and many other whistleblowers have no job prospects and no foreseeable professional future in a nation of all of us came forward to defend. Numerous individuals have come forward in various ways to reveal the truth of the UAP reality as patriots and defenders of our nation. Yet many feel discarded, isolated, and hopeless, separated from the country they serve. Efforts to rectify the situation for all whistleblowers have been difficult and troubling. And to my fellow whistleblowers and officials who have encountered these programs, I offer my apology that you are in this position. I swore an oath to the Constitution of the United States, an oath that demands truth and transparency for our democratic republic to function. Each day, these truths remain hidden from our citizens. Humanity drifts further from the principles of our nation was founded to uphold. Each day, that victims of crimes committed by agencies and companies maintaining the secrecy are denied justice as another day the Constitution is effectively shredded. In 2023, Patriots provided this committee and the executive branch with undeniable proof of the UAP reality, and I commend your continued commitment. The future of humanity is one in which we either travel to the stars or regress to the Stone Age with this technology. My career has been to deliver critical information to decision makers. Your role as elected representatives of the people is to act on it. The time to act is now. So that is a statement, Dylan Borland, that he did on September 9th to Congress. The third official hearing since 2023 about the UAP program and what's going on. And what I decided to do with this video, I'm playing clips from the episode of Weaponized. This is actually part 2 of Dylan Borland's interview. I will definitely leave links to the part 1 and part 2, but I want to just do the part 2 because there's some I just really enjoy his thoughts and perception. I'm not saying it's truth. It's just perception of what they may be, because it's not the first time the things that he shared, what they are, compared to when I had my last podcast about Matthew Brown, what these things, these entities, these NHI or non-human intelligence may be. So with that clips being said, I'm going to basically play, and I split the clips a little bit out of order in a way, because I wanted to structure it just to summarize the whole episode itself. There's some other great episodes out there on YouTube regarding this interview, which I encourage everybody to listen to. But this is just me being me in how I thought was important to share regarding the summarization, as well as the corruption of what's going on, and then why he's coming out now. And then also at the end, the picture he drew regarding the triangle object he saw. So let me go ahead and put up the first clip here. Take a listen, get your thoughts.
Clearances worked in programs. They all have guesses, but I don't know a single one of them that knows for sure what it is.
I will give my opinion. This is my opinion, knowing what I know for a fact, reading and coming into contact of information that I believe to be true, looking at history and looking at through my perspective. I think what we are dealing with is very, very, very old. I think old humans have written those down in religious stories. I think that it's quite clear that we have been influenced by something else. I think Arrow has been telling the American public the truth, and you have said this on Weaponized on my behalf, which is Arrow's statement, there is no scientific evidence of extraterrestrials, is 100% technically true. You have to have a control to have scientific proof, and extraterrestrial is a very exact statement and word with an exact definition, an entity of another planet. These things, whatever they are probably what are referred to as gods or demons or angels or jinn, or insert whatever cultural or religious perspective you have. There are probably also extraterrestrials. It's not a one size fits all. And considering, humanity has the same stories across many cultures: a flood, crafts that are in the sky, things that are coming and helping humans. And I'm at an advantage and a disadvantage knowing certain information that relates very clearly to things that are around the world that are related to what I know. I don't think that's by pure coincidence or luck. I think that the people that are in these programs know the truth to this stuff, and they are looking at it through a lens of this is true, this is true, this is true. This has been here for 8,000 years. This has been here for 4,000 years. Oh, we dug up this at an archaeological dig in hypothetically Egypt. You know, I mentioned it to you guys last night. Lakatsky in his statement about his faith and what it means to be human and the impact and nothing to fear. You know, Lakatsky and I are both Catholics, but I want to be clear in that it's the idea of something greater than us that is here with us and can influence us. And Pasalka talks about this, and you get into consciousness, and all of these things are so correlated, and that's a problem with this subject. And that's why one of the things that I'm a huge proponent of, going back to having our government be a part of this, is you have to set a foundation. Because if you come out and you throw it all out there, people are going to laugh at you, they're going to call you crazy, they're going to do X, Y, and Z. Then you have to set a foundation. And I understand the UFO fanatics are not going to like this opinion, but this isn't for you. This is for the public. If you want disclosure, the public has to be a part of it. Hence why I'm here, is to hopefully get enough people outside of this subject agitated, upset, and come and say, no, we're done with this. My big picture idea is it's been here for a very long time. It goes by many names. It's many different things, and it has an influence on all of us.
Heard what Dylan Borland talked about regarding on his thoughts. And it's interesting because that's not the first time we heard that testimony. When I did an episode regarding Matthew Brown, I talked about how God is real. And even though Dylan's not saying that God is real, even though he said he's a Catholic, he basically touched on the precipice of a spiritual element per se. I wouldn't say he didn't say spiritual element, but kind of hinted to the influence what our history has regarding these beings, these entities that supposedly been around for thousands of years, right? Now, for everybody out there, I'm not saying that God's not real. I'm not saying Jesus is not real. I'm a firm believer of Jesus Christ. He is Lord. He is Savior. He is the one that died for our sins. I always, again, go back to the whole Nephilim theory that these beings can cross over because they are like a hybrid, right? They can cross over different dimensions, different spiritual realms, you can say. And, you can see how concerned he is about his discovery regarding these entities and about disclosure of them, which is quite interesting. And, potential catastrophic disclosure, which, we'll talk about more or hear more actually. But it is quite fascinating. And excuse me if I'm a little off my game. It's been a month, so I'm a little chaotic with my podcast right now. But you can definitely see this guy took a huge risk because he's discussed something that is so supernatural and so phenomenal. And it looks like, again, allegedly, the government has been hiding this for quite some time, not just recently, but for decades in the matter of UFOs, UAP, right? Excuse me. So I'm going to play the next clip regarding his thoughts about the corruption and what's going on within our government and the things that have happened. Take a listen.
And then we got into a heck of a lot of other non-UFO things that are serious crimes that I was witness to. People that American citizens would be furious if they found out were in positions they were in. Corruption, sexual harassment, people getting taxpayer funds that should have been dishonorably thrown out of the military, the whole nine. And I told that individual and another who was present in the room that day about other things that are semi-related to this. And I told the individuals, I said, check all of it. I guarantee it's all true. And 3 weeks later, I get a phone call and they said, "We want you to go to Arrow as soon as possible. Here's their email address." And I said, verbatim, "Is it what the country needs?" "Yes." "Do I go into everything and am I protected?" "Yes." And I said, "All right, let's do it."
including redacted.
I would testify to anything and everything of importance to our to Congress.
So you try to do this right. You go to ICIG and you literally feel like that they are just trying to pump you to figure out how much you know how dangerous you are to the legacy program.
In my opinion, looking back on this, yes, because the way they ask questions, the statements they made to each other, the statements they made to me, 100% seemed like they wanted to find out how much I knew. And at the end of this, which you're aware of the conversation I had with the attorney, it was, "You are credible, not urgent. Go disappear in the winds. Leave this all behind. Shut up. Do not do anything. Your entire everything you said," which goes back to what we talked. I mean, I talked about my childhood in there. I was told everything I talked about in that room now is up for executive review, and I brought up to the attorney, "I talked about my childhood. Is that now up for it?" I talked about unclassified information readily available on the internet, and they said, "Dylan, every single thing you talked about is now subject to executive review. Do not go outside of those bounds." I would rather get ahead of this and have our government be a part of it before it comes out, because then this is going to be chaos.
Okay, but like what comes out? Like what are you talking about? You're talking about disclosure, you're talking about UAP, the reality of extraterrestrials or
I'm
whatever.
talking about what Carl Nell would describe as catastrophic disclosure, where information that I and others have brought forward would be released and believed and known to be true by the general public in such a capacity that our government, as we understand it, would never recover.
All right, so you heard Dylan's thoughts about the corruption regards to the UAP program, and not just about the UAP program, but also about the potential catastrophic disclosure about this coming out and how it would affect people. Not just people in general, people of all religions. Maybe 30, 40 years ago, yes. But I think we're smart enough to really be open-minded. I think that with social media, even though social media feels like a necessary evil, I don't like social media. I don't like being on Facebook. I don't like doing that stuff. Just it is what it is. But it's the fastest way to get this information, like this episode, out there to you all. God, I wish Blockbuster was still around. But he talked about what Colonel Nell talked about was catastrophic disclosure and how that could be damaging. But for who? For the government? For the people? For both? I don't know. But again, I go back. I think we're intelligent enough to handle it. I think it puts the powers back in our hands, that there is something bigger than us out there. And what a way to unify us as a species in regards to this subject, right? That's my personal belief. I could be right. I could be wrong. And I will say this, that he has gone through a lot of this corruption aspect. He's been gaslighted. Has had his life attempted on him. He's had psychological things happen to him during his interrogation with the FBI and CIA. And as I said before, I will definitely put the link for both the part 1 and part 2 in regards to those details, because it is a lot. It is a lot of what he has gone through. And it's not about just the corruption with the UAPs, UFOs, just in corruption allegedly. So don't get banned. In regards to government and how they do things and how our money and spending goes to. I will say this is that he reminds me a lot of Matthew Brown. He really fights hard to be very unbiased and not go down what he calls the woo thought process, that he's trying to be intelligent in a way where it's just trying to look at both sides of things. And he's taking a risk. I mean, the guy has not been on a honeymoon since he got married. The first month after, when he started to come out, and that is not easy. He's had to take money out of his account, his 401k. Actually, he had to cash out because he couldn't get a job anywhere at the time. And I don't think he has a job at this time. So that says a lot. So in this next clip, I'm going to play on why do it. Why come out and put yourself out there? Is it for fame? Is it for money? Is it for a book deal? Was for a movie? And I think it's fair for everybody to hear his response. And you make a judge call about if he's telling the truth or not. Take a listen.
Why now? Why go public?
Because I think unless you have a dramatic change in the approach of disclosure, if our government is not going to help do it for our own nation, then you need to bring in different tools and assets. And I'm coming this as a victim of crimes. I'm coming this as somebody who went through the entire process. I'm coming to this with proof that has been given in closed doors, that has been proven and classified is 100% true. I'm coming at this now, and I'm hoping that veterans, the special forces community, I'm hoping that other whistleblower attorneys, I'm hoping that average Joe down the street right now is going to come across this who fought in Iraq, and I may have even helped to bring him home, is going to hear this and say, you don't do this shit.
All right. So you heard what his reasons why coming out. You can believe him or not. I could tell by his body language that he was very upfront, personally to me, that he's trying to not be just a patriot, but just as a human being to encourage people who may know about this information, no matter how big in the branch of the military, no matter if somebody in the military saw something or somebody's depth of what they know, to share this information, to get people brave, to share what's going on, that our reality is a lot bigger than what the norm in our society delivers and what the norm of a legacy media gives us. Again, I believe controlled by the government, right? The norm that has divided us even more in our own politics as a species, in our beliefs, in faiths, which has caused a lot of chaos, a catastrophe. We live in a very divided country, a divided world around our surroundings. It's concerning to me. Regardless if the UAP thing's real or not, the whole point of this is not just about him sharing the exposure of the alleged UAP program, but the exposure of the government gaslighting us and causing division with ourselves as people. And that's not who we are. Social media is not our lives. This is not our lives. We are meant to engage and have conversations and talk about our differences. Like a successful marriage, right? A husband and wife are going to have differences about things. But did they talk about what the common goal is to achieve that? Yes, there's compromises, right? And that's what it should be with us as people, is that we could talk about our differences and talk about our concerns without violence, without condemnation, without judgment. And we do it with love and respect for each other. We're better than this. We're better. And we should be better. Before I go, the last clip I'm going to play, it's not a long clip, is Dylan drawing the shape of the craft. May not be a big deal to you because it's a drawing, but I like to leave a little dramatics because I'm very theatrical at times. But I think it's important for you to see what he saw, what his experience is, and you make the call about that. Are you going to be open to his observation and experience on that moment with this UAP? Are you going to be open to his experience with the government in regards to him being gaslighted? Read his bio language. Use the soul that God gave you to make that call. I encourage you that. I want you to look deep in your soul about that. And I know there's people out there who don't want to hear this. I know people out there who are going to be like, this is ridiculous. This is not real. I'm going to tell you right now, it is real. Is what's being shared with all this information real? No, I can't say that. Is the phenomenon real? Yes. I just can't tell you what it is. I don't know, but the phenomenon is real. The one thing I can definitely tell you what is real, like Matthew Brown said before, God is real. And I'll add to that, so is Jesus. Again, how can you reach me on Bound of Truth? As before, boundtruth34@gmail.com. You can listen to this episode on Buzzsprouts, Spotify, YouTube, Amazon, Facebook, Apple, and other podcast platforms that you enjoy. Enjoy this last clip, and again, see you on the other side. Till next time, good night.
Can you replicate what you saw, at least of the triangle? Can you replicate for us today and just kind of draw that up?
Yeah, absolutely.